Hi there, and welcome to today's YouTube guitar lesson. In today's lesson, I'd like to show you how to play 5 different arpeggio studies for jazz guitar. Now, I teach a lot of people how to play jazz guitar, and one question I get all the time is, how do I make arpeggios sound like jazz? How do they sound musical? And this was something that I struggled with when I first started to learn arpeggios and jazz guitar. And it took me quite a long time before I realised that rhythm was basically the answer to everything. So all these studies, they use the basic arpeggios, major 7, dominant 7 and minor 7. And all I've done to each one, I've just added some common jazz rhythms to them. And it can really transform them into something that sounds musical with hopefully not too much effort. So I've arranged each of these in tab and notation as well. And if you want to get the tab and notation, I've got each of the examples written on my website, and there should be a link to that somewhere below this video. And I've got backing tracks with each of them as well, with me playing them. So if you want to play along to each of the examples in tempo with a backing track, just go on the website, get them loaded up, and you should be okay. So let's get zoomed in and let's check out how to play some of these different arpeggio studies. Syncopation is a really important aspect of jazz music, and this first arpeggio study shows us how we can take any von arpeggio and give it a different sound by starting it on the off beat of a bar. And this technique, it'll work with basically licks as well. If you've got a lick that's 4 or 5 notes, you can start it on the end of a beat, and that it'll really give that a different sound. So each of the studies, arpeggio studies we're looking at, we're going to be looking at them over a C major 7th arpeggio, root 3rd, 5th, major 7th, C dominant 7th arpeggio, root 3rd, 5th, flat 7, and a minor 7th arpeggio, root minor 3rd, 5th, flat 7. So it's kind of important that you know what they are and how they look across the fretboard when you're working through these studies. If you look on my website, as I said, I've got them all there, tabbed out and notated if you're not sure of the fingerings. So basically, if we were playing an arpeggio and we were starting it, I'm going to start the arpeggio, C major 7th arpeggio, on the actual major 7th this time. If we were playing that on a downbeat, it'd sound like this: a 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is okay, it sounds better than just starting on the root. But it'll sound better still, I think, if you start it on the end of the beat. So a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So there I just did the arpeggio ascending, then I came back down again. It just gives it a little less predictability. It sounds a little hipper starting on the end of a beat. For a dominant 7th arpeggio and the minor 7th arpeggio. And I've got a backing track on my website for each of these as well, so you can really hear how they're sounding content, and you can play along to them there to really get them up to speed. So that's the first study, starting on an offbeat and starting from sort of the flat 7th of an arpeggio as well. The second one here, we're looking at applying another really common jazz rhythm. We're still starting on the 7th of the arpeggio before going up the entire thing as normal. And the rhythm is basically a quarter note, followed by a triplet and then another quarter note, and it sounds like this. Play that again. Then over the dominant 7th arpeggio, and the minor 7th. Really nice one, that. Adding triplets can really basically spice any kind of lineup, really, and especially arpeggios. I really like it on the descending ones. You can add other notes in there, as I did the 6 there, but just for the idea of practicing, you should probably just stick to the 4-note arpeggios, and then once you've got these down quite well, you can always start to really add notes to them to make them sound a little bit more musical, because the studies are written out in a very kind of systematic way, just sticking to the basic rhythm and over each arpeggio, but you should really try and go beyond that, really. So that's the second study. The third one is pretty similar, but all we're doing is, instead of starting with a quarter note, we're starting with an eighth note on the end of one. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now, that was that rhythm over each of the different arpeggios, and that's a really nice one. And then I'm mixing some of the rhythms together, but this rhythm of starting an eighth note on the end of one followed by a triplet is a really common rhythm used by Charlie Parker and just about every bebop or jazz player at some point. So it's a really great rhythm to have, in your vocabulary anyway. So that's the first study. The fourth one, we've got kind of a nice little pattern going on here. It's a descending pattern, so it's a bit different from the others where we have ascending and descending. So over the C major 7th arpeggio, what we're doing is we're starting on the major 7th. Well, I'll just play it so you can hear it first. So it goes. And this is an idea I got from Wes Montgomery. He uses this pattern all the time. So it starts on the major 7th, and that's a quarter note, and then it goes to 2 eighth notes, which are the 5th and the 7th. And then it goes back to the 5th, and then 3rd, 5th, 3rd, root, 3rd, root. And I like to use this one as well with the 9th arpeggio. Sounds even more like Wes when you start to do that kind of thing. I'll probably do a separate lesson on 3 to 9 arpeggios, but if you already know what they are, definitely apply these rhythms to them, because these rhythms will work with any 4-note arpeggio pattern really, so it's worth trying them out with different ones. So that's the 4th arpeggio study. The last one is different again. This is just one pattern here, and it starts on the root, 5th, 3rd, back to the root, and then falls on the 7th. And that was it over each of the 3 different arpeggios: major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7 arpeggio. And on the website I've actually just written 1 bar of each one, but on the backing track I've done 2 bars, so you can hear them twice to really get them into your ears. And this is a nice one because it lands on the major 7th. Well, if it's the major chord obviously, and then if it's the dominant 7, it lands on the flat 7. Because basically in arpeggio, the most important notes of the chord are the 3rd and the 7th, the major 7th and the 3rd. So if you can land on one of these 2 notes, or start one of them 2 notes, it really gives the line that you're going to play a strong sense of tonality right from the go. So what you just heard me play there was a line demonstrating all of these studies in action over the C major 7 chord. It started with the 2nd study rhythm, the 8th note, followed by a triplet, then a quarter note. Then we had the 4th study, and finally the 2nd study again. So, again, if you look at my website, you'll kind of see how this looks on paper. It makes a lot more sense when you look at that rather than just listen to me talk about it. So that's the lick over a static major 7 chord. And I've also written one over 2-5-1, and this sounds like this. And again, I'm just using them rhythms and I'm applying them over different chord types as well. So that's the technique that you need to kind of get familiar with also. Thanks for checking out these arpeggio studies. I hope that you've enjoyed playing and working through them all. I really recommend that you apply each of these rhythms to different arpeggio fingerings on the guitar neck, play them in different keys, and apply them to tunes and progressions that you're currently working on. And most importantly, have fun with them. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, and if you subscribe to this channel, you'll get free access to all the new jazz and blues guitar lessons that I post. Also, you can go to my website, jamehorrorguitar.com. I've got over 150 free jazz and blues guitar lessons, so if you're wanting some more study material, check my website out. I'm sure you'll find something that you'll enjoy playing through. So thanks again for checking out this lesson, and I hope to see you next time.